Thank you for listening to the YouTube presentation from Sustain Fond du Lac Recycling Committee about how to recycle right. Sustain Fond du Lac is a grassroots, citizen-led community action group whose aim is to support, educate, and nurture sustainable development in the Fond du Lac area. Sustain Fond du Lac invited citizens to bring forward issues of concern. Recycling was one of those issues. 8 people stepped forward in the summer of 2019, affirming recycling as a concern. Currently, Sister Ruth Battaglia, Peg Bradley, Stephanie Barrell, Louise Borzik, Rachel Kohler, and Carol Smith serve on the committee. People helping earlier included Barbara Roeder, Barb Geiger, and Colleen Dianovich. We contacted the Fond du Lac Department of Public Works, who contacted Waste Management to arrange a visit at the Material Recovery Facility, MRF, in Germantown. This is where recyclables from Fond du Lac are sent. After the tour, the committee set a goal of developing a brochure to help people to know what can and cannot be recycled. After considerable research by the committee, the brochure was approved by Waste Management and the Fond du Lac Department of Public Works. The communication coordinator for the Sisters of St. Agnes designed the brochure as the sisters' contribution to the project. Copies of the brochure are linked on the Sustain Fond du Lac and City of Fond du Lac recycling web pages. Wisconsin Solid Waste Reduction, Recovery, and Recycling Law passed in 1990. Here is the order of preferences for managing waste. Please take a moment to review these on your screen. By 1995, mandatory recycling was working better than had been imagined. There were ample markets for paper, with mills paying more than ever. And then in 1996, the market plunged. As fluctuation in the markets became a reality, a need arose to learn how to capture the proceeds of the sale of materials to keep programs running. At the same time, landfilling was significantly reduced. Initially, there were considerable efforts to educate the public, and the need for education continues today. This is what the Recycling Committee tried to do with the brochure, and ongoing, we plan to do more educational presentations like this. The current ban from landfill includes some of the most easily reusable materials and the most toxic materials. Notice that the containers and paper banned from landfill are the same materials that the MRF in Germantown accepts to sort and sell.
What not to put in the bin. Let's look at what should not go into your recycling bin. Number 1 on the list is plastic bags. Recyclables should be loose in the bin, not placed in a plastic bag. Loose plastic bags and other tanglers, such as hoses, wires, cords, and fish line, do not belong in your recycling bin. At the MRF, plastic bags and other long, flexible items wrap around the equipment. We were told that the MRF is forced to shut down the line and send in harnessed workers with knives to cut these materials away from the equipment. This is not only dangerous, but is costly in lost time. Clothing and textiles should not be put in the recycling bin. Check with nonprofit organizations like Goodwill or St. Vincent de Paul. Many will accept textiles for recycling as well as reuse. The fashion industry is notoriously wasteful, consuming roughly 108 million metric tons of non-renewable resources each year, from pesticides and synthetic dyes to coal and oil. Only around 1% of all textiles are recycled into new clothing. The majority, more than 2/3, are either incinerated or tossed into landfills. Containers with food or liquids are not acceptable because they can contaminate bales of sorted materials. Needles and anything sharp are banned both from landfill as well as from the recycling bin. Propane tanks and aerosol cans can and do cause fires. The MRF has so many fires that before the tour began, we were given instructions on what to do in the event of a fire. Food waste, quote unquote waste, refers to food that is fit for consumption, but consciously is discarded at the retail or consumption phases. About 95% of discarded food ends up in landfills. Don't put it in your recycling bin. Personal protective equipment does not belong in the recycle cart. Currently, this is a challenge because of the plastics in so many of these products. So don't wish cycle. When people want to get rid of things they no longer want, they may be tempted to guess and put them in the recycling bin. The examples pictured here are not recyclable at the MRF. If in good condition, give them away. If not, they need to go into the waste bin. This slide again shows items banned from landfill. Our brochure includes a list of businesses that do recycle specific materials. The city makes available special collections for electronics and hazardous waste and a place to bring yard and bulky waste. The picture on the right is a Fond du Lac business, ACH Foam Technologies, that recycles special waste materials such as foam coolers or large pieces of polystyrene, the material used as packing around appliances.
So yes, please recycle the following. Metal food and beverage cans should be emptied and rinsed. Place the lids inside the empty can and flatten slightly to keep the lid inside. Aluminum beverage cans are typically the most valuable material, with their revenue offsetting the cost of recycling less valuable material. Aluminum cans do not need to be flattened. Glass bottles and jars should be emptied, rinsed, and the lids removed. Labels can be left on. States that have deposit legislation recycle a greater percentage of glass than non-deposit states. Cardboard and paperboard are desired for recycling. Flatten the cardboard and paper containers. Cut large cardboard into smaller pieces of 2 feet by 2 feet. These should be clean and free from food residue. Paper, such as newspaper, ads, mail, phone books, magazines, are all recyclable. They need to be clean and free from food residue. Don't tear or shred paper into small pieces, smaller than 8 by 11 size paper. No shredded paper should go into your bin. It acts like other tanglers. Envelopes are okay, even if they have a cellophane window. Gift wrap should be free from glitter, foil, or plastic decorations. And you may put all of these papers into a paper bag before putting them into the recycling bin. Plastic bottles and containers should be emptied and rinsed. You may collapse them slightly and replace the lid.
Recycling is more complicated than it used to be, partly because of the abundance of plastic in our households and businesses. Plastic wrap is used abundantly in many grocery stores and homes. It can't be recycled because the thin film gets wrapped around the equipment in the MRF. Small plastics, roughly 3 inches or smaller, also cause problems for recycling equipment. These small pieces get caught or fall between the belts and gears of the machinery. Flexible packaging found in many chip bags is not recyclable. It flattens out on the MRF's conveyor belt and ends up being incorrectly sorted and mixed with paper, rendering the whole bale unsaleable. Also, this packaging is made with layers of different types of plastic and aluminum. The Technology to the technology to separate these layers does not yet exist. These deodorant containers cannot be recycled at the MRF because they're made of several different types of plastic. The shiny adhesive labels are one plastic, the protective cap another, and a twistable gear can be yet another. Clamshells are made from the same type of plastic as beverage bottles, but not every curbside recycler can process them. The way clamshells are molded affects the structure of the plastic, making them more difficult to recycle. Our MRF does not want them. Foam polystyrene, like that found in meat packaging or egg cartons, cannot be recycled. Beverage bottles are the most recyclable. The plastic type is generally a number 1 or number 2. Other bottles should be rinsed and emptied. Leave the lids on, except for spray nozzles, since they are made of several different materials. Yogurt and butter tubs can be recycled. Clean the tubs before placing them in the bin. These containers are usually marked with a number 5 inside a triangle. Tubs are often made with a mix of plastic types. Clear plastic cold drink containers with a number 5 resin mark are accepted by our MRF, but not the cover or the straw. Not all recyclers accept number 5 plastics because of lack of buyers for the material. Our waste management sells this material to a manufacturer who turns it into cardboard doors and paint cans. Plastic bags and some wrappers can be taken to local stores that have a plastic drop-off bin. In Fond du Lac, this includes Festival, Pick and Save, Kohl's, Target, and Walmart. These retailers send the plastic to recyclers who use the material in products such as composite decking and benches. These plastic bags are increasingly found with a label as shown in the upper left of this slide. Many now have a how to recycle logo. This slide still illustrates what can be recycled. Bubble wrap, first remove the air. Grocery bags, case overwrap, like in paper towels and bathroom tissue, newspaper sleeves, ice bags, Ziploc and other resealable bags with the zipper cut off, produce bags, bread, wood pellet, and dry cleaning bags. No heavy bags such as dog food. No cellophane tape material that makes a loud crinkle sound when you squeeze it in your hand. Worldwide, over 400 million tons of plastic are produced each year. Packaging accounts for more than 1/3 of all plastics. Plastics have become indispensable. They are found in bags, smartphones, and car dashboards. But almost half of all plastic products end up as waste within less than a month. Only a fraction is recycled. The constantly growing mountain of plastic waste causes serious environmental problems. Recycling is only second best option to reducing it. In 2025, plastic production is expected to reach over 600 million tons per year. A glance into history shows that only 10% of the more than 9 billion tons of plastic produced since 1950 has been recycled. The best solution is easy to state, but it is hotly contested. Don't produce so much plastic in the first place.
We recycle because it is good for our environment, good for our economy, and because in Wisconsin, it's the law. Since 1990, Wisconsin's recycling law requires all residents to recycle items like cardboard, bottles, and cans, and ensures all residents have access to a local recycling program. When you are careful not to put these items in the bin, you are preventing contamination of materials and being aware of safety of the people who work in this industry. 3 things to remember most. Keep recyclables clean and dry. Don't wish cycle. And don't include long stringy materials called tanglers, which includes plastic bags. A copy of our recycling brochure can be found on the Sustain FDL website and also on the City of Fond du Lac recycling page. If you would like to schedule a presentation, or if you have questions, please contact us at sustainfdl.org. Thank you.